Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the Constitution of Israel. Israel got its independence on 14th May 1948 by the British imperialism. Soon after, the people of Israel decided that they are going to make their own constitution, I mean written constitution. But soon after, they were indulged in a lot of wars, like Arab War in 1948, so they were unable to make their written constitution. So therefore, the Israeli parliament, which is called Knesset, it decided that it is going to pass some of the laws, and in 1950s, the Israeli parliament passed 14 most important laws. And these 14 laws are called basic laws. And these basic laws are the foundational laws on which the political system of Israel is working. In other words, these 14 laws are nothing but the cornerstone of the Constitution of Israel. Nowadays, if the Supreme Court of Israel has to go with the judicial review is a process where the judiciary, the Supreme Court in the case of Israel, is checking that any law which is made by the parliament is valid or not. So, if Supreme Court find that any law is violating these 14 basic laws in the case of Israel, the Supreme Court is going to strike down those laws. So, judicial review is working nowadays in Israel in such a manner, and Supreme Court of Israel is really very powerful. We are going to discuss about this later on. The second important point what you have to understand, Israel has the parliamentary form of government. When you talk about the parliamentary form of government, here you find two kind of heads. There is a real head and there is a nominal head. So nominal head does not have any power at all. So nominal head could be a president, could be a monarch. In the case of Britain, so Britain has the nominal head as monarch. And in India, if you take the example of India, so India is also the parliamentary form of government, and here you see the nominal head is the president. But in parliamentary form of government, the real head is always the prime minister. The prime minister has all the power, and prime minister is the center of the political system. The another concept what you understand about Israel, that the Israel has the unitary form of government. That means there is no federalism at all. Compare this with America. If you see in America, there are the government at the state levels. There are different states. There is Texas, there is California, there is like Nevada. A lot of states are there. There is New York. A lot of states are there. So they have their own governments. Also, there is a federal government at the center, at the union, but there is no federal government at all. But when you are talking about the unitary form of government, then there are no states government at all. There is only one central government or the federal government. So Israel just have one government at the center, okay, and there is no other state or such constituent which has the autonomy to rule. There are some municipal councils, but those municipal councils are deriving the power from the government of Israel itself, and they're just giving the day-to-day activities like cleaning the roads and all. So there does not have any significant powers at all. We are also going to discuss a lot about the electoral system. It has a very interesting electoral system and all, but we are going to discuss about that later on. So let us start the lecture. So mainly when the Israeli people got independence, they decided that they are going to make their written constitution, but they failed to do so, as I told you, because they were involved in major conflict, the War of Independence, which is also called the Arab War in 1948. After that, the young state also had to fight another war in 1967, which is called Six-Day War. But in this one, Israel has captured a lot of extra land mass, and Israel expanded itself. It captured the West Bank, Gaza, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights. After that, there was another important war, which is called Yom Kippur War. So Yom Kippur was fought in 1973 between Israel, Egypt, and Syria. That means Israel and Syria, uh, I beg a pardon, like Egypt and Syria were in one team and Israel was in another team. And this was the war. And that was a surprise attack on Israel. But then also the Israel countered that, and Israel won that war at the end, because like Israel is really a strong country. Talking about the population composition of Israel, so there is 74% Jewish population who follow Judaism. Then there is Arab population, which is about 21%. In Arab population, you have Muslims as well as the Christians. Talking about the other minorities, there are 5% of other minorities as well. So in other words, there is multicultural society in the case of Israel, and the constitution of Israel theoretically give the equal right to all its citizens, whether they are Jews or whether they are Arab population or any minority. Talking about the basic laws, as I told you about this one, that in 1950s, the Parliament of Israel, which is called Knesset, that is a unicameral parliament. There is just one house, unlike Britain or America. If you see America, it has two houses. There is House of Representative and Senate. In Britain also, there is House of Common and House of Lords. But unlike Britain and America, the Israel just has unicameral house, which is called like Knesset, right? That is the parliament. Okay, so parliament passed the series of law, specifically speaking, 14 laws, which is called the basic laws. These are the list of the basic laws. So, like the first one is the Knesset laws they passed, which defined the legislative power of the parliament. Then some laws were related to the freedom, dignity, human rights, and all. Some laws were like related to giving the citizenship to the Jewish people. Despite you are living in any country, if you are a Jew, you can apply for the citizenship of Israel and you can easily get that. So this is also one of the basic law. And also the judicial review is very strong over there. The Supreme Court has all the right to strike down any law which is made by the parliament if they see that the laws which are made by the court is not following the basic laws which were made in 1950s. So this is what you have to understand. And as I told you that there is no codified constitution or a single constitution as India or America has. Let us go to the next part, the executive branch. Before discussing about the executive branch, let us discuss about the parliamentary form of government. So parliamentary form of government. Okay. There are two kinds of government. Basically, there is third kind of as well, which you can see in Sri Lanka or maybe in France. Like mainly the parliamentary form of government and the president form of, like the presidential form of government. In parliamentary form of government, like there is a real head and there is a nominal head. Prime minister has all the power, and the nominal head, it could be a monarch, it could be a president. They just have the nominal power, they just have the de jure power, the ceremonial power. The real power are not found in these kind of nominal heads. So same thing you can find in Israel as well. Also, talking about the main feature of the parliamentary form of government, the executive is responsible to legislature. Legislature has all the right to ask the question from executive, and executive has the duty and responsibility to answer all the question to legislature. You can see this in Britain, in India, but in presidential form of government, there is the separation of power. There is clear separation of power. Like in America, like US Congress cannot call Trump and ask the questions. This is not possible. But in Israel, the executives are responsible to the legislature. Also talking about the difference between these two kinds of government, in presidential form of government, there is no complete separation of power. There is no strict separation of power. What is separation of power, by the way? Separation of power concept says that there are the three levels of government, not labels, organs of government, like legislature, executive, and judiciary. And these three organs of the government has the responsibility to work as per their assigned function. They cannot interfere in the function of each other. In parliamentary form of government, the judiciary, it is independent and no one is interfering, more or less in the functions of judiciary. But if you see very carefully, the legislature and executive, they have a kind of relationship. What relationship they share? In fact, all the executive, they are the part of the legislature also. That means the executives are drawn from the legislature. That is the very important point what you have to keep in your mind. Talking about the executive branch of Israel, after knowing all these things, that would be easy to understand. Just a second, let me delete these all. So basically, there is prime minister and cabinet. Cabinet are the, the ministers, like who are helping and assisting the prime minister with different portfolios and all. So prime minister is the head of government, right? Not the head of state, because head of state is the president. Remember that. And that is just the symbolic head. It just have the symbolic duty. It does not have any powers at all. So mainly the responsibility of president is that it is, like he's just signing the laws at the end when it is passed by the parliament. Also, he or she has the responsibility to receive the foreign diplomat. Also, you know the president is elected by the Knesset. Like there is no popular voting for president in Israel. Remember that. So the member of Knesset, let me tell you, there is 120 member in the Knesset. These people only vote for the president and elect the president. That means the president in Israel is indirectly elected. Also remember, the president in Israel is elected just for the single term. They are not eligible for re-elections. Also, they are having the term of 7 years. So they complete the terms of 7 years. That's very important. Okay. What you have to understand. So these are the main features. Also, talking about prime minister and cabinet, who is prime minister? Prime minister is the leader of the coalition party, because like no specific or particular party in Israel can make their own government due to the proportional representation. Proportional representation in such a diverse society like Israel is leading in such a magic number or such results in the election that no political party is getting the clear majority. What is the clear majority in order to make the government? So that is 61 out of 120. 61, like seats or 61 members must be belonging to a single member party or single party. But this is not possible at all in the proportional representation system. So a lot of parties are combining together, and at the end they are making their own governments, right? So there is coalition politics, and there has been no even a single instance where any political party has got the clear majority in the case of Israel. Like till date, they are having the coalition governments. That's very important. Okay. So basically, the prime minister is the head of government, make policy, security, administration, everything is managed by prime minister and its cabinet. Remember my point. And obviously, the executive is responsible to the legislature. So they are collectively responsible to the Knesset, which is the parliament of Israel. Talking about the legislature. So legislature, as I already told you about this, like there is 120 members in this. And as I told you, like simple majority, that is like 61, that is required in order to make the laws, right? Like it's not like that 61 vote must be required. See, what is simple majority? Simple majority means 50% plus one of the people who are sitting and voting at that time. Suppose out of 120 members, suppose only 100 are present in Knesset at a particular time when a law is being discussed and being passed. Out of these, 90 people decided that they are not going to vote at all. They are going to stay neutral. Sorry, not 90 people, by mistake. 10 people decided that they are going to stay neutral. So 9 people are only voting. So if only 90 people are voting, right? I beg a pardon again. If 100 people are present in Knesset, 10 people decided that they are going to abstain, they are going to be neutral, and 90 people are only voting. So you will calculate 50% plus 1 of this number, that is 90. That is going to be 46. So if 46 people say yes, then that law would be passed. 61 is the magic number, which is also called the absolute majority. The absolute majority and simple majority has the difference. Absolute majority simply means 50% plus 1 of the total membership of the house, which is 50% plus 1 of 120. On the other hand, the simple majority simply means 50% plus 1 of the people who are present and voting. So this absolute majority is used in order to make the governments, right? As I told you that no single party has ever got that majority. Okay, so what is the main function of the legislature? So main function of the Knesset is to pass the laws. That is the main function. You already know that. Whatever the basic law or ordinary laws are there, everything is made by the Parliament of Israel. Okay, the most important point what you have to remember, like the Parliament of Israel is very unstable. Talking about the usual term tenure of legislature, that is 4 years, but there has been no instance that it has completed 4 years. Like there are a lot of pre-elections because the government is being dissolved, because the coalition parties, they are taking out the support, taking away the support. That's why. Okay, that's the main reason. Let us go to the judiciary. Talking about judiciary, like the judicial system, if you read the website of Supreme Court of Israel, it says that Supreme Court of Israel has two hats. That means it is acting as high court as well as the Supreme Court. Same court is acting as a high court as well as the Supreme Court. If you're from America, you could understand this. Point is, you have high courts in the state. American example will not be good in that manner. Just understand. It's very basic. First of all, there is Supreme Court. So when Supreme Court is acting as Supreme Court, as the authority, then Supreme Court is going to, like enroll all the appeals which is going to come from the district courts. Like there are special courts as well, there are some magistrate courts as well, but main is the district courts. So district courts is hearing all the matters of criminal, civil, and administration. If there is any issue or if the people are not satisfied with the decision of the district court, they can appeal to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will act as Supreme Court while it is going for the proceedings of any criminal, like cases, like appeal of any criminal cases, civil cases, or administrative cases. But it is going to act as the High Court of Justice. Same Supreme Court is going to act as the High Court of Justice when it is doing the litmus test for any laws, any order which is made by the government or the people in the government. So that's the important point. So whenever the Supreme Court is doing the judicial review or checking the laws and orders which are passed by the executive, are they in the spirit of the basic laws or not, then they are acting as the High Court. But when they are hearing the appeal from the lower court, which is the district court specifically, then they are acting as the Supreme Court in the capacity. So that is the difference. One more thing, what you have to understand is the tenure of the judges is like the age at which they retire, that is the 70 years. This is what you have to understand. Okay. So this is about the judiciary. The judiciary of Israel is really, really very powerful. I already told you the difference between the unitary and the federal system. In unitary form of government, as the Israel has, like there are no other levels of government. There is just one federal level, or I could say the union level, the central level. All the powers are centralized in one government, right, at one place. Okay, that's the important point. In federal system of government, there are the subunits of the country, of the state, and the subunits are given the authority or given some subjects on which they can enact the laws, and those authorities given by the constitution. So there is no such federal country in this world which has unwritten constitution. If there is a federal country, there must be the written constitution, because constitution only make clear that what power the central government has, the federal government has, and what power the subunit government has or the regional government has. It could be state, it could be landers, it could be provinces. In Canada they are called provinces, in America and India, they are called states. In Germany, they are called landers. In Switzerland, they are called cantons. So actually, there must be a written constitution if there are the subunits of the government, because they derive their authority by the constitution. But in unitary form of government, there is no need that there would be a written constitution. There may be a written constitution, there may not be a written constitution. So both will suffice. That's the point. Also, when there is a federal system, there must be bicameralism. There must be the two houses of government. For example, in India, you will see there are two houses. In America, very popular. You might be knowing the House of Representative and the Senate, because there must be Senate to protect the rights of the state. California, Texas, Nevada, New Jersey, and all in America, right? There must be a house to protect their interest. Okay, so there must be the bicameralism in federal system, but in unitary form of government, there may be a bicameral legislature or maybe unicameral legislature. For example, Britain is a unitary government, but it has bicameralism. There is House of Lords and House of Commons. But in Israel, there is just unicameralism. So unitary form of government may have one house, may have two houses. It does not matter at all. Federal system must have two houses. It must have the written constitution. That's the important point. There are some basic municipal councils in Israel, but they are on the mercy of the central government. All the powers what they are deriving is from the central government. They does not have their own autonomy. So that's the point what you should remember. Now the next part what we are going to discuss is about the administrative division. So this is just for the administrative convenience. There does not have any autonomous power at all like other federal system. So there is Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Haifa, Northern District, Central District, and Southern Districts are there. So next part what we are going to discuss about Israel is the political party. There are a lot of political parties. It is a multi-party system, because always, like as I told you till date, that there is no single party who has got the clear majority to make the government in Israel till date. So there are different party, left-wing party, right-wing party, centrist party. Labor Party is the example of left-wing party. Then Likud party is the example of the right-wing party, and Benjamin Netanyahu belonged to that party. Then there is Yesh Atid, blue and white. These are some centrist party, what you could remember. And the next thing, let me tell you, is the electoral system. What is the electoral system which is being followed over here? That is called closed list proportional representation. Let us understand what is proportional representation. Proportional representation can be of two kinds. It could be a closed list. Like there are a different kind of proportional representation. In proportional representation, I'm just discussing about one kind of proportional representation being followed in Israel, that is list system. Within this list system, there can be closed list, open list. Let us understand what is proportional representation. The political parties are contesting the election, and political parties are assigned, like they are getting the seats, they are winning the seats, according to or proportional to the votes, the share of the votes what they receive in the general elections. I'm going to give you an example. So if suppose there is four political parties in Israel, and for the sake of convenience, let the Israeli like Knesset has 100 seats instead of 120. Apart from that, let the population of Israel be 1000 just for the convenience so that I could calculate properly. So in closed system and open system, I'll tell you like what happens. All the political party will release the list of the 100 candidates. There are 120 seats, but I'm taking 100 for the sake of convenience of calculation. Okay. So suppose political party A is getting 200 votes out of 1000. So it got 20 like percent vote. So if it got 20% vote, it would be allocated 20% of the seats. If 100 seats are there, then total seats would be allocated. 20 seats would be allocated to political party A. And if 20 seats would be allocated to political party A, in closed system, first 20 candidates would be the member of parliament. In open system, out of 100, if political party is releasing the list, political party has the discretionary power that it could take or it could withdraw any 20 member out of 100. But in closed system, they have to go in the sequence. They do not have any alternative order at all. Okay. From 1 to 20, they have to choose. In same manner, if a party is getting 300 votes, then 30% of vote, then first 30 member, like 30% of 100 is 30 seats would be allocated. 30 member would be given to political party B and so on. But what if a political party is getting just 1% of vote? Then they are not eligible for any seat at all, because the minimum threshold, by achieving that, you are going to get at least one seat in the Knesset of Israel, that is 3.25%. So you must get 3.25%, then only you could claim at least one seat. So that is the minimum threshold a party has to secure. So this is how the electoral system of Israel works. And as told you, it's very tough because like Israeli like societies are diverse and multicultural society. So they always have fractured, a kind of broken like majority in the parliament. So therefore, like no party till date is able to make like the government with full majority, with absolute majority at all. So I hope you understand the constitution of Israel. If you want that I should make a video on the constitution of some other country, then you could comment. And also, if you're looking for the tutoring for IGCSE board or any international curriculum, you can like visit our alternative website that is called Noble Learners. That is the part of this YouTube channel that is called Padho to Aise. If you're from outside India, it's very tough to pronounce Padho to Aise. Yeah, Noble Learners is our part. So you could search Noble Learners and we provide the tutoring for all the subjects all over the globe. So you can search that up. And also, like if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe our channel, because our channel is really underrated. I need your support, guys. Thank you so much, guys, and have a good day ahead.